Thank you for hanging in with me. I really appreciate your patience. If you're joining me, I would love to hear what you're doing this weekend, either with the challenge or just what you're doing this weekend for fun. Either way is good. Just to get to hear a little bit from you. I could tell you for me, yesterday, I know it wasn't the weekend yet, but one of the things that I was doing yesterday, I have a client, I don't do one-on-one organizing anymore. I only do virtual, and I do organizing and productivity coaching. So I do it all online. But there's one client that has just been a client of mine for such a long time, and she's just so sweet and can really use the help and all of that stuff. So I still work with her every once in a while. And yesterday, I installed a closet system, which is my favorite kind of closet system. It's the Rubbermaid Fast Track. They also have the Closet Made. They're both basically the same thing. I don't know, there's two companies, same basic thing. But it's my absolute favorite adjustable closet system. And it's not too expensive and all that great stuff. So I've installed, I'm going to guess like 100 at least of these throughout my time as an organizer over the past several decades. And I was installing one for my client yesterday, who is just an absolute sweetheart. But oh my goodness, I don't know how many of those I have installed, but this is the first one where it was absolutely insane, and like everything that I did seemed to go wrong, because I don't normally install anything for clients because I'm not a handyman, but she's more like a personal friend and a client. Everything that I could possibly do went wrong. It's like I hung the track that's really easy to do. You just have to make sure to find the studs and make sure that it's level, and you hang the track. I managed to hang the tracks not next to each other, like not equal. So the tracks didn't actually line up. And then like it just took so much longer than I ever expected that it would. So like I'm still suffering from all of these cuts and everything from the screwdriver and the screws, and it was quite a day. And then thankfully I got to decompress a little bit, and I went out with my sister and her friend, and we did one of those painting, it's painting with a twist here in Florida, but we did one of those paint nights with the girls, and that was really nice. I needed that after the long day of my closet install, which turned out looking amazing, by the way. So it was totally worth it, because my client had never in the past, well, I don't know, however long I've known her at least, and I've probably known her for 6 or 7 years, but she's never, as long as I've known her, had all of her clothes in one place, because her life is just, she is a caregiver and all this stuff. So she finally has all of her clothes in one place. I was wondering if I can find, so here's how her closet ended up. I wonder if you can even see that. Can you see that? Kind of, somewhat. But yeah, she's super excited that now she can actually reach all of her clothes. So I won. It was a struggle, but I won. So that was what I did yesterday, which is kind of my weekend, because the rest of my weekend I'm making sure to finish up this challenge with all of you and make sure to see you through to the end so you can get as much done as possible, because I know that papers can be super stressful. I see Heather says this weekend she's decluttering her papers, and she's gotten her at least a little more motivated to work on decluttering her bedroom. Yay! Took a few baby steps this morning. That's always nice when one project kind of leads to the other. And that's one of the reasons that I do so many of the bite-sized steps between my challenge, see my Band-Aids, they match, between my challenges and the Mind Your Home program. All of the bite-sized steps always seem to lead to even more things around the house. Once you get moving, you just keep going. And that's one of the things, especially with papers. If you can just get moving and get started, even if you only pick up one paper and tell yourself you're only going to do that one, that will get you moving. And a lot of times you pick up that one and it's not as bad as you thought, and you do another. You're like, oh, I can do one more. I can do one more. I do that with myself all the time with dishes, because I hate doing dishes. So if I have to hand wash anything, I think, okay, I'm just gonna hand wash one dish. And then once I start, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do one more. So those bite-sized tasks are what get us over our overwhelm and keep us moving forward. So it's working like a charm with you, Heather. I'm impressed. Michelle says, yay, I made it to a live session. Yay! That's one of the nice things about the weekends too, is that sometimes people who can't always make it live during the week can come. Anita says she's watching workers take down a 60-foot tall pecan tree in her backyard. She loves watching workers who really know what they're doing. Hard to focus on papers with people around the house making unusual noises. That makes sense, but sounds kind of fascinating. When the big trees come down, they have quite a process that they go through. It's impressive. It's still, early morning for me right now because I've just not caught up. I'm a morning person and I've not caught up, so excuse my fake coffee. It's not actually real coffee. It's something that is actually decaffeinated. I don't remember what it is, but it tastes like coffee. Anyway, so today I wanted to go through and kind of give you a quick recap of what we've covered in the challenge so far in case there's anything that you missed, and then also tell you where you can find it in case you missed it. And then I wanted to answer some of the amazing questions that I've had come in. I'll kind of weave those in. If you have any questions on anything that you're working on right now, please feel free, just write that in the comments. I'll make sure to answer those questions too. Excuse me, real fast. I want to make sure that I will be able to see your comments because I had to do Facebook in kind of a weird way. So I've got comments on one thing and other stuff on the other things, and it's just kind of all over the place. That's one of the joys of tech, but that's why I try to start early usually, because that way I can handle it. Anita says, these guys are great. Michelle says that she's also been working on her clothes this past week. Yay! Yes, the phrase bite-sized tasks has been added to my vocabulary. That's awesome, Michelle, because really we can do just about anything for one bite, right? It's just when we look at a huge project, that's when our brain shut down and say, nope. So bite-sized is totally the key. So before we start with the recap, I did want to cover, I had a few questions that just came in. I posted and asked people to send me messages or comment if they have any questions. So here are a couple of questions that I had that I wanted to answer, and I'll weave in answers along with our recap. Let's see. Oh, first question is, what kind of label maker do I use? And that's a great question. I know that I posted it in the action file, supplies, but I'll show you. You can tell this is live. I did not prepare. Here we go. This is my favorite label maker. The action file supplies page does have a link to it. It's not an affiliate link or anything. It's just an Amazon link. This is the P-Touch, Brother P-Touch machine. This is, I think, is an older model because I've had this thing for, I'm guessing 5 or 6 years. It's my second one, but only because I bought a different brand before and it did not last. So this is model number PTD200. The newer model looks a little bit nicer and is just as fabulous. And as you can tell, I labeled my label maker. So stay motivated. But this baby is awesome. And one of the questions that I get a lot of times is, what types of label tape should they get? What colors? That type of thing. And I say, you know what? Avoid the colors. Unless you're doing a craft type of project, don't bother with colored label tape because you will spend all of your money on different colors and it'll make it way too hard to label things. I stick with two kinds. I stick with black on white, and I stick with black on clear. Those are the two kinds of label tape that I use, and I use both sizes depending on what I'm doing. So there's one that's 12 millimeter. I think the other one's 9 millimeter. There's only those two sizes available. So because I'm an organizer, I keep all four in stock, but you could probably pick one size, just do like maybe all the 12 millimeter only, and just the black on white or black on clear. And here's how I use that. Here's how I decide which color to use. For anything that's going to be against a white background, whether it is a file label or if it's maybe a cabinet or something that I don't want it to be super, super noticeable, and it's going to be on a background that's easily read against, like a lot of times inside file drawers, what I would do, like a lateral file drawer that maybe has a light wood inside, I would put the labels on the inside of what the groupings are, or in the kitchen on the inside of a cabinet, I would put the labels. If I don't want them to be glaringly obvious, or it's already going to be against a white surface, that's when I use the clear. All other times I use the black on white to give myself that background that's easy to read, because it's super easy to read just black on white. When you start with the colors and stuff, it also makes it not quite as easy to read, and the whole point is to keep it easy to read. So that's my favorite label maker. Yeah, another tip with my label maker is I usually print multiple labels at once. So I'll type in a bunch of different words for all my labels, and then I'll hit print, so that each time it prints, it adds all this waste on the ends. Let's see what I printed last time. Oh, huh. So you'll see if you print one word, this is when I made a life binder for my sister recently. I made one, you know, we've got a section for your pet in the life binder, the Spark Life Binder. Each pet has its own little area. So this is what I did for her label in her life binder for her dog. It even can do like the little paw print. It was just so adorable. But you see, when you print on the label maker, it has all this extra waste, and the label tape is not super cheap. You can make it last well, but it's not the cheapest ever. So what I usually do is, if I have several things to print, I will print, you know, I'll type a word and then a space, and type a word and space. So that way when it prints out, I just use scissors to cut in between, and then I'm saving that much space in between each label. So make your tape last longer, much better. And this usually comes off pretty easily too. But there you go. That's the answer to that Q. There's the A to your Q. That's my favorite label maker. I see that Heather says, what to do with her college diploma? It's currently in a frame, but I know I'll never hang it. So when I take it out of the frame, it becomes a paper that I don't know how to handle. That's a good question. You know, what I did with mine, and what I usually have people do with theirs, is put it with your important papers, whether that's either, you don't necessarily need to put it in your life binder, but you can if you do a page protector and just stick it in there, then it's nice and safe and you never have to worry. Or you can put it in a fireproof safe and just keep it in your fireproof safe. Wherever you have your birth certificate is a great place to put it. Just kind of keep it somewhere that's nice and safe, because it's really hard to get, at least last time I checked, really hard to get a new copy of your, diploma. So sorry, I'm just moving things around because this is not quite working. Oh, there's my elbow. You get to see my elbow. So that's the answer to your question, Heather. That's where I would keep my college diploma. I'd probably, if it was me right now and it was not already in the fireproof safe, because my safe is getting full, so because it's tiny, then I would probably actually put it in my Spark Life Binder at this point, just because when I first put it in the safe, I did not have that yet. Susan says, on Amazon, reviews of this label maker, one of the people doing a review gave instructions to reduce the waste on each side. Yep, great. I'm assuming that's probably, there's using the margin settings, which you can do that too, but it does not save as much, and it never fails that when you use the margin settings, you forget to set it, and then you hit print and you end up with all the waste. So I've just not even started to use their settings, because there is one, and it's just not the best, because if you accidentally just hit clear all, then that setting goes away and you have to remember to reset it. So that's why I use my technique. But yes, there is a way on the label maker to do that. Thank you, Susan. I always love reminders about other things. So I mentioned that we would do a recap of the challenge so far. And let me pull that up. I just kind of hopped on without pre-planning a lot of the stuff. So what we've done so far on day one, the first day of the challenge, you had your email, and if you're missing any emails, they're on the recap page, which there's a link in the description. On day one, we just built our action file. So in your email, oh, I got these all out of order because I haven't talked about them. In your email I sent you, it showed you how to assemble this, all the supplies you need, and the very basics just for putting it together and finding your box. Make sure to have a box that has no lid and that is not really big and has 10 or fewer file folders in it. So those are my key tips there. And then with this one that I have, this is in the link with the Amazon supplies, it's by 31. With this one that I have, I like that there's the mesh holder for all of my supplies in the front. That makes it super easy, and it's easy to carry. It's lightweight. If you don't have that, then I don't have it near me, but just grab a pencil pouch and fill it with, you know, a pen, a pencil, some Post-it notes, some clips, a stapler, a staple remover if you feel like you need it, and put that in an empty file folder within your action file. So that's how I handle building my action file, and that was day one. And day one, we just built it. We wanted to make sure to get our supplies, get it all built. Day two, we talked about sorting. And sorting is always the part that everybody kind of gets most concerned about, because it can be really stressful if it's overwhelming or if you're not sure what to do. So I gave you the tip on day two of the keep or go method. So the keep or go method is you're going to do multiple levels of sorting if you have a lot of papers. So if you've got a whole box, more than a box, a lot of people I know had almost a whole room of papers. Your first time sorting these papers is not an only touch it once type of system, because that will wear out your brain and you will run out of steam and it's way too hard of a project. So the first time you sort it, you just decide, is it a paper you need to keep or a paper you need to let go of? And then you can also, if there's more research needed or you're really unsure and you want to ask Susanna, what would Susanna do? Then all you need to do is create a maybe pile. And then that's the stuff that later you'll put even more brain energy into researching and making that decision. But that first time sorting is just keep or go. Then once you've sorted into your keep pile and your go pile, that's when you can sort those piles. So when you sort your go pile, that's when you decide, is it recycle or is it shred? That's really the only two options for a paper. And I've had people mention that they've just decided to shred it all just in case, drop it off at a shredder. Fantastic. If it's overwhelming, if you want to save the time, just shred the whole go pile and then you don't have to worry. And that's an absolutely valid way to do it. Now, your keep pile, that's what we did on day 3. So day 3, we talked about our to file folder within the action file. So one of your main 6 folders is to file, and to file is anything that you simply need to keep in its paper form, but you don't have to do anything with it besides keep it right now. You might need to do something in the future with it. Right now, you only need to keep it, and you don't know of a task that you need for it for the future. So we talked about our to file, and we talked about how to make decisions on those important papers, what important papers to keep. We had the how to keep important document, or how long to keep important documents. We had that download available. I think that one was available for everybody, if I remember correctly. It might have just been for the VOP membership. I don't remember off the top of my head, but we talked about that and how long to keep the papers. We went even more in depth with it in the video for day 3. So find that video on the recap page if you've not seen it already, if you need help with that. Day 4, we talked about the to enter folder. So the to enter folder is if you just need the information on the paper, but not the paper itself. So business cards, websites to visit or save, addresses, anything that you just need to enter that information somewhere else. A lot of things that go just in your Spark Life binder. I just throw anything that I'm going to put in my Spark Life binder, those important papers, into enter, so that way I can enter it in my Spark Life binder before it goes on to its next location. So to enter, and then on the video, we talked about where to enter a lot of this common information, both paper versions and paper lists. We talked a little bit about a bullet journal for lists and using notebooks. We talked about password safety and how to save passwords in both a paper list and paper system and what to be aware of. We talked about my favorite apps for these types of things, my favorite scanning app, that type of stuff. And I gave you some tips on how to use current apps that you probably already have in a different way. All of that was on day 4. So if you missed that video, hop over to the recap page and watch that one. And then on day 5, on Friday, which was just yesterday, that one was not a live video that day. I was not able to do live, but we talked about the to-do and to-pay folders. These are the only folders that have actual actions that need to be done on a regular basis. And for you, if you don't have a whole lot of things that come in for to pay, then you can probably even skip this folder and just put them in to do. That's absolutely valid too. We also talked, I don't remember which day, I think in the to file day, but I could be wrong. We talked about adding special folders that are unique to you, to your action file, and keeping them all labeled with an action. What is the next action that needs to be taken? So instead of a coupons file folder, it might be a to buy or to save money with or something like that. Instead of an ideas folder, if you have a whole lot of ideas that come in, then to do in the future or for future ideas or something like that. Make it an action though. For future ideas would not be right. To do in the future or to possibly do in the future would make sense. To give to mom is a good one. So the mom file is an example of what the next action is. All of these different types of special folders, we talked about how to make one unique for you. We talked on day 5 about creating habits around your to-do folder, and don't look at it as when you need to review it, that you have to do everything in it. Remember, when you put it on your calendar or decide to review your to-do folder, that does not mean you have to actually do all of the things in there. If you think it is, then you're less likely to actually go through and do those items, because that sounds stressful. You just need to look through it and make sure that you have gone through and you know what's coming up and that you've not missed anything. And if there is something that's coming up to do, you don't necessarily have to do it right then. You can pull it out and lay it in front of the action file or clip it to the front if you need to, so you don't forget. But you're just reviewing it for your habit, and then you can set a different time to do it. So I hope that makes sense. If it does, please give me some love, give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up, give me, you know, all the happy emotions to let me know if this makes sense to you, and if I missed anything that was an aha moment for you or you felt it was important, please put it in the comments so I remember. Yeah, so I had another question to answer from somebody. I had a person, oh, there's all the love, thank you. I love all the emotions. So I had Joanne asked if the Spark Life Binder, she bought the Spark Life Binder and she just wanted to make sure that she was doing it right. So she asked me with important papers, and this can apply whether you buy the Spark Life Binder or if you want to do it on your own. But with any of the papers that go on your binder, she asked, does she need to enter them immediately? Like when she gets the binder and prints up the papers, does she need to go through all of her files and pull this stuff out? And how does she get the information into it? So no, Joanne, you do not need to. This is not a project. So this is not something that you need to spend a whole lot of time doing. It is something where all you need to do is just get those pages printed. If you want to 3-hole punch them and stick them in a binder and get your binder set up, then less than 30 minutes and that's done. It takes me these days, you know, between 10 and 20 minutes if I'm doing it really nicely to set up the Life Binder so it's ready to go. And then all you need to do is, as things come in, enter them, but you don't need to make a project of it. Just having it set up is all you need to do in the first place. And along with your Life Binder, you'll have the video. You have at the beginning of the FAQ in the beginning of your download shows you step-by-step how to set up your binder, so you don't have to even figure out it on your own. It's all just in order. You print it, you hole punch it, you slap it right in there. And then as things come in, that's when that to enter folder is super handy. So you just throw your important papers into enter, and then once you go through that to enter folder, you can fill in the information in your Life Binder, or you can put it in the pocket in the back. Because in the back I have my pocket. Oh, there's the emergency binder. In the back of both the emergency binder and the Life Binder, I always add a pocket like this. And that right there is where I can put things if it needs to be entered still. So, and she says, thank you so much for doing the paper challenge. You're welcome. She says it's just what she needed to get motivated. And she also said that when she opened her Spark Life Binder download, she was so excited because it was so easy. She said so much information that she does not have to think about, and she can just fill in the blanks. You're welcome. I'm so glad to have you with us, Joanne. And you and all of the other Spark Life Binder people, there will be a revision coming out with some extra pages you can add in. That'll be coming out soon. There's always new sections or upgrades that I'm doing to the binder, and I always give it for free to everybody who's bought the Life Binder. And then also, I'm going to be building a fun FAQ area for all of you and just making it more and more fun and more accessible and sharing more tips with you. So just because you bought the binder does not mean that you get rid of me. You can keep me or you can unsubscribe from me, but I will keep sharing stuff with you. So that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up. And remember, if you do want the binder, the only chance to get into the Ultimate Papers workshop to go really deep in depth in your file cabinet and figure out exactly how to lay out your file cabinet for your personality type and what to keep and what to let go of on an in-depth level. The only way to get into that workshop is to buy the Spark Life Binder before the end of the night Sunday. And after Sunday, you cannot buy the Spark Life Binder anymore. It is going away until the next event, which about every 6 months or so, I'm planning to do this type of an event. So it'll be 6 months at least before you can buy the Spark Life Binder again. If you want it, I'd say get it now, because even if you beg me afterwards, I can't, because I try to stick to my word. So if you want your Life Binder, you have to get it by Sunday, or else you cannot get it again. Just a heads up. I always get people upset because they didn't know and I didn't tell them, so I have to remember to tell people. All right, next question that I got, medical papers. What medical papers do you keep and how do you keep them? Now, in that Ultimate Papers workshop, I'll go much more in depth into medical papers and how to file them, what to keep, that type of thing. But let me give you a quick overview. I think, yeah, it was Sherry who asked this one. Hi, Sherry. I hope that you're on, but if not, then I hope that you catch the replay. So medical papers, generally, the way I decide what to keep with medical papers is I keep in my action file, I keep all of the bills and EOBs, which means explanation of benefits for insurance. I keep all of that in my action file until it's been verified and there's no problem with it anymore. Especially if there's an ongoing issue, then I even clip the notes of the calls that I've made, all of the notes about what's going on with that with the paper. So that way they're together. If you have more chronic condition, something that you're dealing with more, then you might even want a whole notebook of what you've discussed and your own, maybe, to research or to reconcile folder in your action file for medical stuff, or if you're a caregiver for somebody who has a lot of medical. So until it's all resolved and I've seen that it's worked out and it's good, I keep those in my action file because I need to be able to eyeball them and compare them and make sure that it went right. Then the EOBs, I can still get online, and most of the time with most insurance companies you can. So you can either shred your EOB, and I always say shred anything with medical, always shred medical stuff. But you can either shred your EOB and not keep it at all, or you can hop on and download the EOB or just scan your EOB and keep it if you want, if you're afraid that you won't be able to have access when you need it. I generally just trust that I'll be able to access it on the website or that I can call and get the information, because legally they have to keep it and give you that information for a certain period of time. I don't remember the number of years, and each place might be a little bit different, but I don't worry about EOBs that are very old because that's processed and that does not give me my medical information. But the more current EOBs, I trust that I can get off the website. So I don't keep my EOBs. If you feel the need to, you can just, I'd say, scan them or download them from the website, because they can take up so much space and they're not something that you will refer to very often. Now, medical bills, if you need them for taxes, it's really the payment, showing the payment. If you need it for taxes, put that right away in your tax file. Once they're paid and resolved, put it in your tax file. If you don't need it for taxes, then I just shred mine, because once the bill is paid, I do not need that information anymore. And then my medical records themselves, that's when I put them in the to enter file and I make sure that anything important with the medical records that needs to go in my Life Binder goes in there. So if there was a medical event that happened, if there's an update to a prescription, any kind of recent stats that I need to keep, a doctor's information that's a new doctor or that I need to update, any of that I need to enter in my Spark Life Binder first. Then that medical record I put in, I just have one file because I'm an inventor, so I don't do filing a whole lot. I just put it in one box of just stuff to scan. And I scan it up to a folder that's just medical information. Now, if you're a paper person and you're not the one box system, which most people in this group are administrators or counselors, you can have just one file folder for medical records or medical history. And that's where all the blood work, the past prescriptions you've been on, any type of medical events, test results, all of that stuff can just go in medical records. There's no need to get super hyper organized with it. Most likely you won't need to reference it again. And if you do, then it's okay to look through a little bit of a thicker pile if it saves you some brain energy getting it filed. Because otherwise, if it's too complicated of a system, then we're going to spend way too much time setting up the system, maintaining the system, too much brain power when we have to put things into the system. So all of this time takes longer than the time it would take to just sort through the pile and find what you need in the future. Now, when you're filing, if you're always putting the most recent thing in the front of the file folder, then it's going to end up being a chronological file, which is handy. So that way, if you go into the file for something, usually that's because you need something more recent. It's rare that you need something further back. So even if it's a fuller folder, it's probably going to be in the first few papers anyways, because those are going to be your more recent papers if you're always doing the most recent in the front. So hopefully that helps. If you have any other questions, please remember, pop them in the comments. I'm not going to stay on too much longer, but I want to make sure to answer any other questions anybody has. I also wanted to tell you, now, like I mentioned, the Spark Life Binder, I'm not selling it after Sunday. So you will have to wait at least 6 months for the next event in order to buy the Spark Life Binder. I can't even promise that it'll be $99 in the next event because I do know that it's worth much more. I have a hard time selling it for what it's worth because I want everybody to have it because it's so, so, so important to me that people have their important information really easy to grab. So it just reminded me of the story about one of my clients and her husband Ron. So Ron, the Life Binder was literally a lifesaver for Ron because of the emergency folder. So Ron had a heart attack and his wife was she was scared. She was having a hard time thinking about all the information. And as they called the ambulance, she was terrified. And then she remembered that in their kitchen, which part of setting up the Life Binder, I tell you where to keep it and some of these clues about where paramedics look, so that way they can find the Life Binder if you can't communicate. They always look like near the refrigerator. There's ways to set it up so that if you can't communicate, the paramedics or emergency responders will find the Life Binder and have all of your information, even if you can't tell them about it. But she remembered at the last minute as the ambulance was coming that they had the Life Binder and the emergency binder was in the kitchen. So she grabbed the emergency folder. It had everything that they needed to know about Ron, including medications and severe allergies. And they were able to avoid using one of the medications that actually would have complicated the situation and probably killed him because they knew that he was allergic to it. So the fact that she had the emergency binder literally, see, it'll make me cry. It literally saved his life. She emailed me about a week later once things were calmed down, and there were so many thank yous in that email because having an emergency binder to communicate when you can't or to tell people the things that you might not remember in an emergency is so important. So whether you get a Spark Life Binder and set up your emergency folder or you make your own version, please do it and make sure that you put it in a location where if something happens, people can find it and help you out. So I just wanted to share that because there are so many stories I've had about the Life Binder, and how it's literally saved lives. It has literally caused really horrible situations to be so much better, or to be able to resolve a situation that they had no way of resolving without it. So please get yours or build one before it's too late, because if you don't start now, even just buying it and printing it and not even filling it in immediately, just fill it in as you go. If you don't start now, then 2 years from now might be too late. So grab it and do it, and at least set it up so you can start filling in information, even if you don't get all of it in immediately. Please, please, please. It's only because I love you, and I want all of you to just feel calm and safe and peaceful and confident and secure, and just having that stuff. That's why our files stress us out, because we're afraid that we won't be able to find what we need when we need it. So I want you to feel like you can find everything that you need when you need it. Okay, so we have a question from Donna. Sorry, I'm too passionate about the Life Binder, I swear. We have a question from Donna. Different folders and boxes for family members. I'm assuming you mean about the action file, or you might be talking about the Life Binder. Either way, yes, you can totally have a separate action file per family member if they have different needs, or if you want them to manage their own box. For example, I've had multiple clients and people set up an action file for their teenagers or preteens. So that way, as things come in, they can get used to having a system of capturing paper, managing paper, and filing it before they become an adult and get so much more paper. So it's a fantastic way to help teach teens, preteens, young adults, help teach them how to manage paper, especially while you're around, and you can help guide them too. If you have a husband or a wife, most of us are women, if you have a husband or a spouse or a partner, and they have their own sort of system, and you do your papers separately, absolutely, do 2 separate ones. If they want their own action file, that's fantastic. You can definitely do it. And then in each other's files, you can always just have incoming papers, to give to, for me, Moose Pie, to give to Moose Pie. I usually just stick it on his chair in his office that he can see it, but decide where you're going to give each other papers. That's obvious. So if it goes in their action file, it does not get stuck in yours and lost, or never makes it into a file, because we're trying to avoid the piles. But yeah, you can totally do separate ones. If you're talking about the Spark Life Binder, then in the Life Binder, there are separate sections that you can, each section that has information is broken down in a way where you can just reprint those pages and create another section per person. So for example, for me and our family, we have the 3 of us. This is my example folder though. I just print the emergency file section twice and put tabs, one for Jeff, who's my Moose Pie, and that's us, and one for me. So that way we each have our own section in the Life Binder. I'm going to shut the door real quick because Amazon's here, which means the dogs will bark. The joys of working from home, but got to do it in order to get you guys information and help you out. So I hope that answered your question. So Spark Life Binder, easy to print, 1 section per person, or as you saw with the label for my sister's dog when I made my family's Life Binders, 1 section per pet. There's a page about your pets and their care and who can take them in emergencies and all sorts of things that you need to make sure that you know. Now, Jana says, I got in late. What did you do to your hand? Ouch. Oh, yeah, I talked probably too long at the beginning of the session about my hand, but I was super thrilled with myself that I found matching Band-Aids. I'm not normally this together and coordinated, but I was building a closet system. Well, not building, I was installing a closet system for an old client, even though I don't do one-on-one anymore with people. I have an older client, and well, the closet system fought back. It's my favorite one and I love it, and it's super useful and easy. Nope, that's my dachshund. It's super easy, but for some reason, everything that could go wrong did. So it's, yeah, I've got cuts all over my fingers from the drywall screws and the drill, and I've got a, what's it called, a blister. Yeah, it was crazy. I see Kathy's here. Hi, Kathy. Dottie says, just found this, Southern California. Yeah, so it's early for you. Good morning, Dottie. I'm glad you made it. Okay, so Donna, she meant for the medical info. So I told you nothing of what can help you out. Yes, medical info, what I do is I just have one separate folder per person. Because really in your file cabinet, all that you're keeping is, for the most part, the medical records. Because taxes, that'll just all go in the tax folder. Unless you're filing taxes separately, then you would have your own tax folder groupings that were separate. But as far as the medical information, that medical history or medical records, whatever you want to call it, I just do one per person. So it'd be, you know, medical history Susanna, medical history Moose Pie, medical history KK, that type of thing in my file cabinet. And I group it out per person. So yes, because it is otherwise kind of hard to tell whose blood work is whose and all that fun stuff. I hope that answered your question now. Sorry I got it wrong, Donna. If anybody else has any questions, awesome. Please remember, post in the comments. I've got a couple of other questions I will answer really fast. I think I kind of already touched on, they asked about shredding. If medical needs to be shred, yes, I say always shred it just in case, because people can steal your information about your health and medical, and a lot of times it has your birth date and things like that on it that they can then use to log in or pretend to be used somewhere else. You know, use it to do a reset password or answer security questions. You never want to share any of that type of stuff. So yes, I say always shred your medical. I hope that helps. Except for maybe some of the huge honking policies. Just pull out your personal stuff and then you can recycle that. All right, now we'll go in the Ultimate Papers workshop. I do go more in depth about what to shred and what not to shred. So if you do want more help with getting your filing cabinet completely set up and personalized for your personality type and all that fun stuff, then make sure not to miss the Ultimate Papers workshop. And that comes with your Spark Life Binder, and it's not available offline. You're welcome, Donna says, thanks for the detailed info. Let's see, what else did I have? I got a question about something else. Where did I put it? Because I was just pulling it up quickly this morning. Oh, it was a question about photo backup. And they said that even though they know that this is not about papers, a lot of their papers are photos, and a lot of their photos are digital now as well. So they wanted to know a little bit about photos backup. I'll be having a photos challenge in the VOP membership group. So we're gonna have a super fun time getting our photos organized and creating a plan for them and taking little bite-sized steps for all of our photo stuff. That'll be coming up in that VOP membership if you're not already in it. That's a fun one, that one in the memorabilia challenge. And Monday we start on our rest of our papers challenge just for the VOPs. So we do just little tiny bites throughout the week to finish sorting our papers and get our important papers sectioned off. We talk a little bit more about not just the Spark Life Binder, but if you don't have a Life Binder, then we'll talk a little bit about kind of somewhat of creating your own, an overview of what the different chapters are if you're trying to create your own. Although I did get a comment from Susan, she said that she was thinking of creating her own Life Binder, and as soon as she gave up on that thought and just bought it, she was so glad that she did, because it was so detailed and so easy to just fill in the blanks. She's like, she never would have remembered or thought of most of that stuff, and she never would have gotten around to even starting if she'd done her own, because it's something that was on her mind already for quite a while and she'd never actually started it. So she was super excited to get the Life Binder because now it's actually going to be done for her. But photos, since I had the question about what to do with your photos, especially as you're sorting papers, if they're hard copy photos, I'd say keep a separate area. You can either put them in like a to scan folder if you want to, if you only have a few and if they aren't super delicate. But if you've got a bunch of photos or they're super delicate, I'd say to start off with, create a small box that's going to be a safe box. If you want to, if you have some super fragile photos or super important ones, maybe an archive quality one, the acid-free type of boxes, you just Google it, acid-free photo box, maybe set one of those up. I also, for really delicate photos, sometimes get the acid-free paper, and then within the box, I'll put a photo and then acid-free paper and photo and acid-free paper. And kind of make sure that it's in between acid-free paper, so that way it's not going to yellow or anything before I get around to the photo project of getting it scanned and making sure that it's preserved correctly. But that's what I would do. I would set aside a separate box. If they're just standard photos, it's probably fine, just a shoebox, and put all of your photos in it. And then once you've decided how you want to scan them, I always say to scan your photos, because even if you're going to keep the hard copy of them, having the scan just is reassuring that if something were to happen, you don't lose everything. I know for me, once I scan them, I let go of the originals of my photos, except for the ones that were, you know, super old and on like really neat old paper or like super precious. But for the most part, almost all of my photos are just scanned now. And online, you can find there's several photo apps where you can just print off a photo and have it mailed to you right from an app. So wherever you scan them to, like I use Google Photos to store all of my photo scans. Then straight from Google Photos, I can send it to my digital photo frame. So I can see my photos all the time. I can just send a certain album if I want to. I can choose multiple albums, whatever I want. So every season I kind of change what album's showing on my digital frame. So I actually get to see my favorite photos. And I've got little albums of favorites for fall and favorites for this and that. But I send it to my digital photo frame, but also there's the app I use is, I think it's called Free Prints or Free Photo Prints. Let's see. Yep, so Free Prints is the name of the app that I use, and I can just upload all the photos that I want printed and have them send me the printed photos for whatever event I need it for or whatever use I need it for. Because a lot of times I decorate for the seasons with photos. I pull them out from different seasons. So the ones that I use every single year, I have in my little box of my seasonal photos to use all the time. But any new ones, I just have them printed and sent to me before the season starts. And my little 4x6 is the size I choose. You can do 8x10, you can do whatever sizes you want and have them printed kind of on demand. And with the free prints, there's a certain number of them. I think it's like 50, maybe even 100, a certain number of them that you get for free each month, and you just pay shipping. So I know that they're making their money on the shipping. The shipping's not very expensive though. So it's totally worth it for me to be able to have all of my photos on demand. Walgreens, you can send your photos to Walgreens and have them printed there and pick them up. I've had mixed results with their print quality, but it can work in a pinch, which is really handy. And then also, along with free prints, they have another app called Photo Books. And each month you can get a free photo book and you just pay the shipping, which again, I know the shipping is actually the cost of the book, but it's super cheap. And you can print up little photo books. I don't know, do I have one in here? I don't think I have one in this room. Oh, but I just got I had another question that somebody asked. So I don't have one in this room, I don't think. But the photo books are great. Yeah, I know. I'll have to bring it in the next live. The photo books are great though, because if you go on vacation or have an event, or maybe just, you know, for summer or for the year, you can just upload all of these scanned photos and have a photo book printed instead. So you don't have a photo album that you're flipping through, you have a photo book, and it's like a scrapbook, but without all the work. So that's what I do with photos. Like I said, I use Google Photos because with the iPhone, and I think also with Android, although I don't have an Android to test it, it can automatically upload, and then once it's uploaded, you can ask it to delete all the photos off of your phone that have been uploaded, and it verifies that they're uploaded and then moves them over to your trash. And then from the trash, you can still restore them if you wanted to before the 30 days are up. Or you can just go and empty your trash, because I don't know, I end up with like 1,000 photos, and it's nice to be able to get them off my phone but know that they are already uploaded, and anything that's not uploaded stays on my phone. So I can see if there is a problem with the upload. It's still on my phone and I can resolve that and make sure that it gets uploaded. So that is how I handle my photos. They have photo scanning apps that you can use for your phone too, that can just scan the photo. A lot of times I just take a picture. I'm lazy, but they've got some better apps for scanning your photo. So as you come across it, you can just click, that scans it, and then you can either let it go or do whatever your next step is. So I hope that answers your question. That was, let's see, that was Jane that asked. I hope that answers your question, Jane. And then, yeah. So if you have any other questions, we're about to wrap up. I know that I chatted a lot about my closet organizing system and the dogs and stuff and all that, but we're about to wrap up. If you have anything else, post it in the comments. I will be live again at 5 p.m. with new answers to new questions. So any that, if you watch the replay, if you post your comments here, if you message them to me, if you post them on the post in the group, wherever you post them, then I will definitely answer those on the Facebook Live at 5. Donna says, when are you doing the photo course? I'm thinking January is probably going to be the photo challenge for the VOP, because that's kind of the time that we're motivated to get these projects done. So most likely January, I'll be doing photos or memorabilia or both, and that will just be for the VOPs. So that's going to be a members only challenge, which every month they have a challenge in their group. The free challenges only happen maybe every 3 or 4 months, usually. It depends, but yeah. Susan says, if you use a photo scanner, what software do you use to organize the photos? Again, I just use Google Photos. As with a photo scanner, I pay extra for Google to save the full resolution photo with Google Photos, and it's not very much extra. I don't remember if it's $1.99 or $5.99 or something, but it's not much extra, and they save the full file size of my photo. So whenever I do use a photo scanner for some of those more precious photos, and I have a nice Epson photo scanner, I save the full resolution photo onto Google Photos. And the nice thing is, not only can I move it into albums, but it can find the photo based on, I guess, photo recognition, some kind of AI, artificial intelligence. I just type in like tree, and every photo with a tree comes up. It learns what my face looks like, and I can, find every photo of me or of my moose pie, and it'll show all the ones that moose pie's in. Anything with a dog, anything with the blue, I can type blue, and anything with a lot of blue in it will come up. So that's why I like the Google Photos album, because it takes zero effort from me, and I can find things based on a search for the photo. You can search by date, you can search by location. If you took it with your phone, then there's a location tag usually with it, if you've got that set up, as long as you didn't turn it off. So I use Google Photos. It's the easiest way. There are a number of other ones out there, and I don't want to go too far down the photos rabbit hole, because also in the challenge, I'll probably mention all of these different options, but there are some other ones out there if you wanted to go like super in-depth organizing your photos manually. So I hope that helps, Susan. Awesome. One last thing I did want to tell you about was just one more reminder. Ultimate Papers Workshop, I need to update the numbers on how many spots are left, because since I last updated that number, I've had more people buy the Spark Life Binder. So there are fewer seats left right now than it says on the Spark page, but the link is in the description. I guess for me it's there. It's backwards when I do Facebook Live. The link is in the description in this video of where to buy the Spark Life Binder. If you buy it and you're one of the first 50 people, you will get a free admission to the Ultimate Papers Workshop. And if you can't attend live, that's okay, because whether you're live or not, you will get a recording of the entire workshop for you to keep. So you can replay it as much as you want. You can watch it periodically to remind yourself of anything. You can rewind, you can fast forward. Super easy to use and reuse that whole recording of the Ultimate Papers Workshop. And everybody who's been in the workshop before, I did this one other time, has loved it. I got such great feedback about how it just took all the guesswork out of their file cabinet. I even gave a cheat sheet of, this is exactly, if you're this personality type primarily, set your file cabinet up like this. If you're this one, set your file cabinet up like this. So make sure, get on the Ultimate Papers Workshop. I'm not selling that separately. It only comes with a Spark Life Binder. And again, the Spark Life Binder will not be sold after Sunday. So if you don't get it by Sunday, you can't get it. I'm not selling it after the challenge is done. So yeah, that's my reminder. I see Karen's here. Karen just got here from grocery shopping. Hope I can replay this. Yes, you definitely can, Karen. And please feel free to share any of these Facebook Lives, any of the videos. Share away. I do not mind. Make sure to share them with anybody that you think that would enjoy them. the recap page and all the videos will go away on Sunday night. So the recap page goes away. So the link is in the details of this post, but it has all of the videos and it has a PDF version of all the emails. So if you wanted to keep all the emails from the challenge, you can download the PDF. They're yours, you can keep them. Just I ask, don't resell them or anything, but they're all yours. The videos and that recap page will go away on Sunday night at midnight, my time. The videos on Facebook will come out of the units and off the announcements on Sunday night. So they'll still be, like if you search the feed, if you want to do like a major scroll, then they will still be within the feed. I'm not going to go back and delete them off the feed and all of that. But they won't be very easy to find. So by Sunday, make sure that you've watched your videos, make sure you've downloaded your email PDFs if you want those. In the myhomechallenges.com, the free membership, the challenge network, they will be up for about another week. So if you're in that network already, that's what I'm moving over to. I'm moving away from Facebook as much as possible and transitioning over there just because Facebook does put so many restrictions on how we can do things and all of that stuff. So we're moving over eventually, hopefully, for everything. So over there, they'll be up for like another week. And the VOPs, I see, actually, Karen just asked. She says, does the recap go away for MOP members? Yeah, the VOPs, which stands for Very Organized Persons. The VOP membership, which is $6 or less if you sign up through myhomechallenges.com on your computer versus through the app, it's, I think, $4.99. If you go through the app, like Apple charges their fees. I think Android may or may not charge fees. So it's between $4 and $6 a month, though, to be a VOP. Super cheap for all the resources that you'll get. And the recap does not go away for VOPs. What you have, instead of the actual recap page, I have the whole papers challenge topics for you in your own topic, and it will stay there all year. You can review them all whenever you want to, plus all of the other challenges that we've already done and any new challenges you'll get access to, and they'll stay in the VOP membership as well. So VOPs, you get all the challenges all the time, including the papers challenge. So any of the bonus resources, any of the extra tip posts, the mental mindset posts, all that stuff you get to keep. So if you're a VOP, it's totally worth your $5 or $6 a month with having everything right there for you and having our fun challenges like the photos challenge, the memorabilia challenge, the extra week of the paper challenge, and just any other resources that I give only to the VOPs. So if you missed out on the paper policy or the full personality results, any of that stuff, it'll still be there for you when you join in. I hope that answers your question. You can also find the VOPs link within the description or at myhomechallenges.com. It's just the membership option. And then within myhomechallenges.com, when you're logged in, on the left-hand side, you just click memberships and then find your VOP link. And that's where your member area is. And oh, there's the mailman. Solo, nope. But once you see your VOP membership, then everything is right there for you. My dachshund is going crazy for the mailman. Come here. Solo, come say hi. Oh, he's just kind of crazy today. He's hoping to be able to snuggle. So after this, I'm going to snuggle with him a bit. If you have any other questions, please. Oh, I know. Let me put you down. He's not a lap dog. If you have any other questions, ask in the comments, post them, message me at 5 p.m. for the 5 p.m. live. I will answer more questions. I've had a couple, I think, come in while we were on. I've seen notifications for all sorts of stuff come up. So at 5 p.m. I'll answer some extra ones and give you some more info, and that's it. Keep being amazing this weekend. You're doing awesome. The fact that you are doing even one step forward, even just watching this video, means you're succeeding because you're taking a step forward. You're making that change in your life. You're dedicating time, and for some of you, even dedicating money to the Spark Life Binder. If you pay for it, you are much more likely to do it. So if I were to give this out for free, most people would not even print it up because there's no skin in the game, and it's one of those one-day things. But it's actually, there's something about when you pay for something, you value it more and you're more dedicated to completing it, and I want that for you. So you're dedicating your time, Some of you are dedicating your money, which means that both of those are going to help you succeed exponentially if you just keep taking those baby steps forward, that little bite at a time. You will reach all of your goals before you even realize it. Just don't give up. Don't feel guilty about not being where you want to be. Celebrate all of your wins. Celebrate what you have done, and post in the group what your wins are, and comment on each other's posts and encourage each other, and post your struggles so we can give you some virtual hugs and all of that. Just let me know what's going on and share with each other, because you never know when your post might be exactly what somebody else needed to hear. Pauline says that she missed Friday's video. Where can she find it? The recap page, the link is in the description of this post. So click to the recap page. It's only up until Sunday. It will come down on Sunday, but that's where you can find Friday's video and all the other videos. And then Dottie just went through her bills to pay file while she was here. Some went to pay, some went to enter, and some went to do, etc. Wow, how great. That's fantastic, Dottie. Yay. I love you multitaskers. I will see you all at 5 p.m., same place, fewer technical issues, hopefully. And bring any questions that you have. Let me know how it's going, and I'll see you then. I love you all so much. Keep being amazing.